Hello, my name is Mike Adams, and welcome to a brand new episode of The Very Best Podcast. I want to start today's episode with this. Did anyone catch Tuesday's episode of First Take?
Pete Carroll been making bad decisions since college. Remember on fourth down, he took Reggie Bush out and gave the ball to Lindell White?
Yes, I do.
And he the one that threw the ball on the 1 yard line?
That's right. Well, they did say that Russell Wilson, I had sources tell me that Russell Wilson audible, he made that call himself. It wasn't Bevel or Pete Carroll, it was Russell Wilson that made that call.
Anyone else catch what Stephen A. Smith said there? What he's referring to is Super Bowl 49, when the Seahawks infamously were on the 1 yard line and chose to throw the ball instead of running it with Marshawn Lynch. Now, my memory of the situation is that the play happened really fast. The Seahawks lined up pretty quickly and then snapped the ball. Play happens, Russell throws the interception, and Malcolm Butler becomes a household name. That's my memory of how that all went. But according to Stephen A. Smith's accusation here, it sounds like Russell Wilson called an audible play. So I thought, let's take a look at the video, let's go back to the game, and let's dig deep into this and figure out, hey, did Russell call an audible? And is it possible that the play call was actually supposed to be a run? And all these years, we just didn't know that it wasn't Pete Carroll and Darrell Bevell. Was it Russell Wilson? Before we dive deep into that, please remember to like and subscribe so that you can get more content from me and we can dig deeper into more situations like this, and we can talk more about football and those types of things. Please remember to like and subscribe. Okay, so let's take a look at the video. So Russell, he did move people around before the play started. Marshawn Lynch looked like he was a little bit confused about where he was supposed to be standing. So it's absolutely possible that Russell did in fact call an audible, and that's why Doug Baldwin goes out left all of a sudden. That's why Marshawn wasn't exactly sure where he was supposed to be standing. That's a possibility. And it's also possible that Pete Carroll has simply been covering up for Russell Wilson for all of these years. Now, why would Pete Carroll do that? You have to take into account that Russell Wilson was just finishing up his third NFL season, and it was time for the Seahawks to give him a contract. And that offseason actually ended up being the year that they gave him a contract, making him the second highest paid behind only Aaron Rodgers. Now, if that's the case, if Pete really has been covering for Russ all these years, it makes the 2023 accusation of something that happened in 2022 all the worse. Let me explain. It was reported by The Athletic that Russell Wilson, before he was traded to Denver, tried to get Pete Carroll and John Lynch fired. Now, if Pete Carroll really did cover up for Russ, it's a pretty crummy thing to do to try to get him fired, no matter how many years have gone by. Going back to the play, my opinion, it wasn't necessarily an audible. An audible is when a quarterback comes to the line, looks at the alignment of the defense, and decides to call into another play. They've got code words and all kinds and hand signals and things they do to indicate to the other players that they need to audible. Peyton Manning was famous for doing this. He would often come up to the line and yell, "Omaha, Omaha," and then they would do something. And Omaha didn't always mean the same thing, he revealed years later, but it was an indicator that they were potentially going to audible, or sometimes not audible, because sometimes it was also a fake audible. Marshawn Lynch has talked about for years the fact that when the call came into the huddle and Russell Wilson called for the pass play, that the entire team kind of looked at Marshawn, and Marshawn just went, "Okay, let's go, guys." And so that's been something that Marshawn Lynch has said for years. And even more recently, Pete Carroll came on to the Richard Sherman podcast and explained the decision to throw the ball there. Take a listen right here.
You guys are so mad at me and so pissed. I'm going to just tell you again. You guys couldn't hear it for years, but when we got down there, I think we had one, if I remember, we had one timeout. And so as soon as we got there, I said, one of these plays, we're going to have to throw it to get all four plays. Because I'm always in, make sure that we have a chance to get all four shots. So we run the first play. And I think what happened is Bill, late, he sends in the goal line team, and we had already sent in 11.
Right.
And so we're in 11 versus goal line. And so that went through the play callers, and that's what led them to throw it on that down. Right. And so that's what happened. It wasn't by design. There was no agenda. There was none of that. It was just the way we had prepared.
So it seems pretty clear to me that this wasn't an audible. Pete Carroll and Darrell Bevell, who was the Seahawks offensive coordinator at the time, they really did just choose a pass play, and their intention was for Russell to throw the ball to Ricardo Lockett or throw it away. And I'm not entirely sure why Stephen A. Smith would make this accusation. He says that he has sources that told him that it was an audible. Unless these are just like really unreliable sources, I don't see how that could have happened. I don't know where his information comes from, of course. My only thought is that right now, hating Russell Wilson is the new black. That is the new cool style thing to do. Everybody loves to hate on Russell right now. Now, this might sound funny coming from me when I just wrote an article a week ago titled Russell Wilson Sucks Now, but what about Sean Payton? True, but I want to clarify that. Now, anytime that I have ever attacked Russell Wilson or talked negatively of Russell Wilson, it's always had to do with his business decisions. It's always had to do with him forcing his way out of Seattle. It's had to do with his play on the field. It's had to do with some very specific things as a player that I think we are all entitled to criticize and comment on. I have also made videos in the past being very clear that I think who Russell Wilson is as a person belongs in one box, and who Russell Wilson is as a player and teammate belongs in a completely different box. This box is the one that's up for question, the player and teammate one. The charitable man, the human being off the field, is not really up for question in my mind. This is a man who, when he was here in Seattle, went to the Seattle Children's Hospital every week and met with those sick kids and tried to inspire them and tried to do something good for the community. And I think he did do good for the community. This is a man who in Denver does good things for the community. Well, so now I'll toss the question to you. Did Russell Wilson audible on this play? Has Pete been covering to protect Russell for all of these years? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below. So we got to do our NFL picks. And I wanted to do it more fun because I started to realize I feel like my picks are getting stale. The pick segment, it's not what I want it to be. And so I decided, let's turn it into a little bit of a game, a little bit of a challenge for me. These picks are getting too easy, guys. So I need something else to challenge and stimulate me. So I'm calling this new segment One Pick, Two Words. The segment where I pick one team to win and 2 words to summarize why. All right, so we're going to start out with Thursday Night Football, which is the Jags versus the Saints. I pick the Jags. 2 words why. They're back. The Jags have won 3 in a row. Trevor Lawrence is back in the top 10 in passing yards. They're back. Get the game now? Cool. Let's move on. Raiders versus Bears. I pick the Raiders. 2 words. Bears suck. In the 6 games they've played this year, they've won only once. Scored more than 20 points only once. Allowed less than 20 points only once. Sorry, Bears fans, not your year. Browns versus Colts. I pick the Colts. 2 words. Where's Deshaun? Highest paid player in NFL history and has only been available to play in 10 out of 21 games. Deshaun Watson not available. Browns are going to struggle against the Colts, even though the Colts are going to be starting Gardner Minshew, and they've lost their quarterback. At least their quarterback's a rookie, and 10 of the games that Deshaun was not available for was entirely his fault. Let's keep that in mind. Bills versus Patriots. I pick the Bills. 2 words, good timing. The Bills are coming off of a couple of weak performances in a row. The Patriots are the perfect catalyst to serve up as a slump buster. The Bills should dominate in this one. Good timing for the Bills to be playing the Pats. Commanders versus Giants. I picked the Commanders. 2 words, Brian Daboll. I don't know how to say his stupid last name, but have the Giants realized that last year was a fluke yet? Falcons versus Buccaneers. I picked the Buccaneers. 2 words, weak division. The Bucs are probably going to wind up winning the NFC South. That's not that impressive. Their only competition in the division is the Saints. Both teams are probably a mile away from the teams that will wind up being the wild card teams this year. The Panthers might not win a game. The Falcons are overrated. Their slide probably starts this week. Actually, kind of started last week. I got the Buccaneers winning this one. Lions versus Ravens. I picked the Lions. 2 words, MCDC. Okay, I know, that's technically 4 words. Motor City, Dan Campbell. Fine, you want 2 words? How about Jared Goff? 5th in passing yards, 5th in touchdown passes, 11 touchdowns to 3 interceptions, 3rd in rating. The Lions offense, it's just going to be too much for Baltimore. Cardinals at Seahawks. I picked the Seahawks. 2 words, bounce back. The worst thing that could have happened to the Cardinals for this week is for the Seahawks to lose the way they did last week. They're going to be laser focused coming off a rough loss where they had several opportunities to capitalize on getting into the end zone, just couldn't seem to pull it off against the Bengals. I'm kind of expecting a big offensive explosive day for the Seahawks against the struggling Arizona Cardinals. Steelers versus Rams. I pick the Rams. 2 words, no offense. That's not no offense, that's no offense. The Steelers offense has 5 touchdowns on the year. No way they're keeping up with the Rams in this one. Packers versus Broncos. I picked the Broncos. I know. 2 words, Russell's revenge. Last Thursday couldn't have gone much worse for the Broncos. Steve Smith roasted Jerry Jeudy before the game even started. The offense only mustered 8 points. Defense played well and still lost. I get the feeling that the Broncos have something to prove at home against the Packers. I think they're going to pull off the upset. Every now and then you got to go with your gut over your eyes. I'm going with my gut on this one. I think the Broncos are going to pull it off. Probably in a close one. Chargers versus Chiefs. I picked the Chiefs. 2 words, underwhelming Chargers. Yes, underwhelming is only 1 word. Chargers are 2-3 on the year. They've only beaten bad teams. I just don't see how they make it past the dominant Chiefs. Dolphins versus Eagles. I picked the Dolphins. 2 words, speedy receivers. Dolphins receiving core is just way too deep for the Eagles to keep up. Final game, 49ers versus Vikings. I picked the 49ers. 2 words, Caleb Williams. I'm a little surprised that the Vikings haven't started scraping their team for parts already. The Viking season is over. They should have traded Kurt Coe by now. I'm surprised they haven't. New York or Denver or whoever wants him probably would be a good trading partner, just because if you're Minnesota, you can't get enough draft picks. I think that the injuries to the 49ers aren't even going to really factor into this game too much. They've got the full weekend to recover, which is helpful. The reason that my 2 words are Caleb Williams is because I think that the Vikings should just tank this year and get Caleb Williams. Why win a game? Now, the Panthers have the best shot at getting the number 1 pick. Oh, that's right. No, they don't, because the Bears have their first-round pick. I feel like the Vikings have a shot at getting into that fight if they... I mean, think about it. Even if the Vikings have a terrible season, yet the Bears have the 1 and 2 overall picks, the Bears might be willing to trade out of that 1 slot and ride it out with Justin Fields. I got the 49ers winning this game, though. Okay, that was today's episode of The Very Best Podcast. I'll see you guys next Thursday. Later.